Okay, so I've definitely been avoiding thinking about this because it is still crashing. It's crashing at this last pixel. And I think I know what's happening. One aspect of it is that it's crashing absolutely rarely. Um, let's just see, I'm hoping, my memory is that when I launch this, it'll present me with the thing that will crash. Although, what I wish I'd just done is run it in release mode, because any change to this setup might not crash, and release mode renders the first 4 frames of animation very quickly. Well, more quickly. So, okay, fine. Pretty nondescript. Let me just go build target release and start all over again. So the question here is, the point at which it crashed was after rendering 4 frames of animation or something like that. So what that means is that it's a very rare occurrence, because that's tens of millions, maybe, of lines. Maybe not in this instance. I'll be able to figure out actually, and I will, just out of curiosity. This is, well, 1, 2, 3. Oh, there is animation, so I can't. I think it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 segments. Can't actually figure that out, but it is 5 to the power 10. Yeah, so right, 9 million segments are render, so it's and it's getting through 4 frames. Okay, let's just do this and crash it. 250 frames, 5 video loops. This is all set up as I remember it. Save to cursor anim. We should see a readout here in a moment saying I wrote an animation frame. I wonder if I'll get mic dropout here, because this is churning quite hard. Now if I remember right, it'll get through to number 3, it'll manage number 3, and number 4 will crash it. There we go. And I got the memory access violation because I don't have the debugger on, but that's okay. Oh no, number 3 crashed, I guess. Okay. And what that was here in last pixel. Now, something that because it's that's infuriating, but it is still to do with this. Not that one, but I think this one. Not that one. This one, not this one. It's actually the left and right sides. This one is the top, that's 0, that's fine. Here, no, this one, that's the right, that's fine. Oh, hang on, no, I'm looking in the wrong place again. It's here, and it's here. Is it? The Y is Y at x0. In these instances, not that one. Oh god, where is it? I know there is one. I think it's this. That's x. So it's when it's this is, I think this is the problem, this could, y at x0 could be equal to output height. And if it is, that is to say, this crosses the left-hand side at output height, down at the extreme bottom left. And output height, of course, pushes it into the next row, which is out of bounds, array index out of range. Similarly here, it can be less than or equal to output width. I figure out where it crosses that y-axis. Is that right? Yeah. I find out, yeah, the y component when x is at the width, and it can be less than or equal to. So, because this is so similar, like I want to buffer this thing against being set to actually output width. Now I could say is less than output width, but I'm not sure that's the way I want to go for it. Because what happens if this is similarly, it's saying less than or equal to output width, less than or equal to output width, so in theory it could end up equaling output width, as this could end up equaling output height. And here I say output height minus 0, 1. You see, I think that what I should do is make a version of output width and output height, another global, so it's my favourite thing, which is output height and output width minus a little buffer, and I decide the size of the buffer up here or somewhere else in the code, so that by the time I'm down here I'm consistently, comparing it to the buffer, including when I calculate where it crosses, I think, and the buffer is understood to be less than a pixel inside the final, less than a pixel. I mean, it has to be considerably, doesn't it? Or a bit, as much as it can get away with. Maybe I have to scale that value. Like, I'm really uncertain about this bit, to be sure, but this is the way I'm going to go for it. I'm going to come up here to where this is defined, and I know that inside render I do all of this stuff and then call the other render bit, including render gradient, and it's inside render gradient that I set output width, and I make output width and height floats. Here, somewhere down here, like an idiot, I proudly decided to use these things when I just shouldn't have done, and I will not. I will make it project output width, project output height, because at least they're ints. Anyway, so I do define though. I do define output width and height there. So on top of output width, I'll say I want something else, which is, it's like width limit, or output max x float equals something. I won't bother declaring it because so maybe I should start thinking about that as a way of reminding myself this is something I'd declare later. Output max y and output border float. These are things that are really only used inside render gradient, but anyway. So here, output border equals, now this has to be a number, and it has to be a number that's sort of sensitive to the resolution you've demanded. Like, if you've got a resolution, I've discovered here that if you've got a resolution of like 2000 across, or 1920, a buffer of 0.000001 is too small. It can't cope with that. equally, if I render something 10 units across, it can easily handle a buffer of that small. So what exactly is the relationship here? The smaller the width, the smaller the buffer required? The smaller the buffer, yeah. So that, oh gosh, I should just figure out the sum. Divided by width. Just just imagine what I'm getting if I elect to do that. Zero point 0.1 divided by 1920 equals, can I get non-scientific notation please? 5.2, that like exponent minus 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Can't believe that it's just 0.1. Do it the simple way for me, please. 1920. Well, I'm disappointed in that. So should I multiply? If I say 0.5 times 1920, what exactly do I get? 960. Yeah, right. And then say 0.1 divided by 960. Yeah, 1e to the minus 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 3 decimal places. See, that's kind of about right, I think. But maybe it's also massively overkill. And so let's say that you wanted a 10 unit wide. 0.5 times 10 is 5. 0.1 divided by 5 is 0.02. Okay, well that's going in the wrong direction, isn't it? Because I want, if it's 10 units wide, that gives a lot of leeway for me to be a fraction of a unit in from the side. But maybe I'm overthinking this. Honestly, this could probably be 0.1 and I should just never ever worry about it. That means it will be within the last pixel. In fact, I'm going to do some tests right now. And I'll say output max x equals output width minus output border, and output max y equals output width minus equals output height minus output border. Okay. Now, inside the actual horrible draw curve gradient thing, all the time I think I want to be thinking about output max x. And I think that right now, here I am actually saying less than and less than. Am I really, really overthinking this, and that actually if I was just to replace all these with less than, I could... I hate the indecision, but that's what I'm going to do. It is what I'm going to do. I'm just going to have to bear this in mind as well. So really I can never say check the bottom. Bottom is greater than or equal to in that case. And less than, I can always say less than or greater than or equal to 0 because it can occupy 0. Just can't occupy that extreme. Now if I'm right about this, then I say that. If I'm wrong about this, then I'm going to come through this and put in my max x. Now what did I do here? Right, yeah, so it's less than or greater than, and right is greater than or equal to, yeah, that. So if it's actually crossing. Oh me. I really am feeling very... Okay, that's the way it's going to be. This is 0, so this now needs to be less than, so it's only ever if it is less than. I just have a feeling that this is not going to work. And also that I should take out this if that's going to be less than. That can maybe... I'm going to make this crash so hard all over the place making these changes. But okay, here, if right is greater than or equal to that, okay. Okay, in that situation I actually don't know. I really want to be able to get rid of that. But actually, yeah. And here I can't say OW. No, okay, forget this, forget this, forget this. I am doing this. I am going through this. And ignoring that opening part, because God only knows. If top is less than 0, do the line is vertical, top, right, okay. That's fine, yeah, that's just at the top of the... Now here, I'm saying max y. Now it's if bottom is greater than or equal to max y. Yeah, this must be max y. I am messing with this so much. Then otherwise equals the bottom. The line is horizontal. If it's off the left, that's fine. 0's fine, can occupy 0. It's the right, when actually I want it to go to x, output max x, and here it must be output max x. You'll see, computer, and here this I think can just be equal to output max y. Yeah, because it's kind of like the bottom of the screen as far as the line is concerned. The line stays just inside the last pixel of the screen so that it will always occupy it. Okay, this is my brain speaking to me. And this can equal yat x now, y at x0, because it will always be less than or equal to oh my. And I need to remember that I'm using these sums. This one's okay because it's 0. Here, I want to know where it crosses max x, because max x is where it's going to be set to. Yeah. Does this make any sense? And this one now will be okay because it's within max y. He said, comforting himself desperately. Here, it's to 0 again, that's fine. Here, this needs to be to max y. And I need to check all this. Less than or equal to max y. This, okay, right. This is not, that's okay, this one. And left is what? Less than or equal to max x greater than, oh, max x. That is really weird. So the right hand side, this is if it crosses it, if the left is less than or equal to it. Means it's got a pixel there. And if the right is greater than it, yeah, okay. Well, I could say, yeah, I will. Am I being consistent there? Oh. Let me, sorry, I'll quickly through here. Yeah, okay. And left, less than 0. Oh, max x, yeah, max x. Okay. O max y, that, O max x, less than or equal to O max y, less than or equal to O max x, greater than O max x. Less than or equal to O max x on the top. Now, greater than or equal to 0 and bottom is greater than or equal to 0. Like that. So that 0 is on screen. Just like O max x is on screen, he said. I'm ahead of myself. Okay, so if it's greater than that or less than or equal to O max x, top is less than or equal to O max y, bottom is greater than O max y. And this must be made O max y. just going for it. Yeah, that's pretty nice how I'm just guessing there. Well, that's a pile of stuff I did. And what I'm going to do is run it, if it runs, which will just be, well, that's surprising and nice. The debugger is off, so it will crash, if it's going to crash. But it won't keep me waiting too long if it's going to crash. I really hope this works, because I'm not exactly sure what else to do except go and do a bunch of reading about this, which I don't know, find it hard work understanding something by reading about it. What can I say? And also, because I have no idea what I'm doing, it's just hard to know where to even really start. Anyway, I mean, I feel like I've made a pretty good start. It's just this little thing, and it might just crash immediately, even faster now. Sorry, interrupted. But I'm not going to waste more time. I will just say, hit me with it. It didn't instantly crash. It managed to write one. My gosh, this tension. And also, this is also no good. I'm aware, like, this is a sign of being an incompetent programmer. That I'm sitting here going, well, how will I test it? Well, just run this, well, doing the thing that, here we go. Wow, hang on. Did it make it there before? I can't remember. I don't think it did. I'm holding my breath. Okay, well look, it's past the previous boundary. Now, the question is, do I sit here and leave it to render 250 frames of animation? How much did I do here? Oh, 27 minutes, okay. Well, seeing as it's got this far, I'm going to see it through to the end of this half hour or so. I'll leave it chugging away here. It's not responding, that is an aspect of it which I intend to fix. Not so much the not responding, but it might remain the case that the program goes into shutdown mode. I'm also bracing myself for this crashing at any moment. It's very possible that I did not get this right. But sometime soon it will not simply say not responding. There are a few options. The simplest is at least displaying something on the screen, so you're not sitting here looking at the last thing you did. It will at least show please wait rendering, so that, you know, maybe we'll continue to follow this computer game model of kind of just running and from then on being locked to frame rate. You know, and if I was a good, clever programmer, I wouldn't be feeling this tension just now, because I'd have sat down at least with the pen and the paint and done some hard sums to make sure I wasn't going to do an index out of range. I didn't do that. So I wonder if this does work, then that's nice, but it means moving on to the next thing, which is further testing really of this, because the clipping running reliably is one aspect of it, and there are several others to test. There's the gradient through time aspect of it. At the moment I'm just rendering a single gradient. I have demonstrated, I think, because it managed to render a few frames before, I was able to check the first 3 frames and see that it had managed to, you know, it was using the same gradient the whole time, so it wasn't making a mess of it. This is taking a long time. Oh, there it goes, God. My heart. Anyway. Okay, well, I'm not just going to sit here and be tense. I will call that a video just now, and I guess it's maybe been, what, 4 or 5 minutes since it started, and if it's been about, let's say, conservatively 5 minutes, and it's done 20, it's got 250 to do, so it's got like 10, 11, 12, 12 times 5. This is going to take a while. I guess I'll just leave it to it. I am going to think about the banks. As it runs, I become more confident because it's just doing all those millions of lines in all those different positions. But still, it's a nerve-wracking way to do debugging, trying to render 250 animations. Perhaps I should have been more conservative. Now, also, should I possibly just have a look just before I thought I had one there. Just before I go, inside products, Windows, because I hope I haven't just broken it. No, there are the frames emerging. Not that I want to give the game away, but there are some frames of animation. It doesn't like loading them all up all the time, so I will give it a break. And I don't expect the video grabber likes doing that either. So it's working. Let me just check. One more ticks over. I can help it a little bit by minimizing this. See, one more tick over. Oh, there it goes. And I'll be back shortly.